Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Real Talk in Real Estate, where we take the complicated processes in real estate and make them easy. Today, we have a special guest. Our special guest is Brian Banks. Brian Banks with First Houston Appraisals. Everybody has all their burning questions about appraisals. Everybody wants to know what's inside an appraiser's mind. We're going to find out today. Y'all tune in and check it out.
Very much. Appreciate it.
That's a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge up there in the door. So let's back it up here a little bit. We're going to take it back to the beginning and talk a little bit about the beginning. Brian, are you a native Houstonian?
I am not. I was born and raised in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and went to school at the University of Texas, and been down here since I was 18. So.
Gotcha. Chattanooga, okay. I actually went to Vandy.
You did?
Stayed a little bit in Nashville for 4 years.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it over there, except for the snow.
Right.
I'm a Southern boy, so I'm used to the heat, humidity, and that type of stuff.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different, so it took a little bit of adjustment. So I get it. Visited Chattanooga a couple times.
Pretty city in the South.
Yeah, it is. Have you ever gone back? When's the last time you've been back?
We're thinking about getting a place there, actually. Just have a little condo. It's really grown since I was a child. There's all kinds of restaurants and outdoor activities and symphony, and it's quite a nice little secret that people unfortunately are finding out about.
It's a nice little hideaway spot to get away.
It is, right there in the mountains and the rivers.
No, I get it. So you went to UT, and UT is in Austin.
Yes.
What brought you to Houston?
Actually, was in the oil business, like everybody else was in the early to mid 80s.
Okay.
And they kicked me out at around $10 a barrel.
Okay.
And one of my good friends from college was an appraiser in Austin and said he needed some help, he'd train me.
Okay.
So instead of going back home, I went up to Austin, that's where I learned, and then he and I moved to Atlanta.
Gotcha.
And opened up a business there for a couple of years, and moved back to Houston. So
Gotcha.
It's been an interesting ride so far.
Yeah, I know it. You got a chance to experience different parts of the country.
Oh yeah.
Different places, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Would you say Houston's on top of the list of the cities?
I made my decision at 24 to get married and raise my kids in Houston. I love Houston. I will never
lived anywhere else.
Now I'll go to Chattanooga and have a place together.
But that's kind of like secondary.
Yeah.
I got you. So you got into the business. Following, kind of shadowing your friend. He showed you the ropes. Working for him. At what point, or how many years were you working with him before you decided, hey, I'm going to branch out and go along?
Well, we've always kind of been together in some sort of business relationship. He's kind of done his, but we're still friends. We still bounce stuff off each other. One great thing about my job is that I can learn something new every day.
Absolutely.
And I never get bored.
Yep.
And I really like going to work.
Yes.
I really do.
Yes.
There's a shortage of appraisers now, and I'm putting in 50 to 70 hour weeks at my advanced age, but that's getting a little bit old, but the work is getting old, but the job is not. So,
absolutely.
he and I started an appraisal management company, which happened after the 2008 fall crash, and that was a methodology created by the Feds, and sold that a couple of years ago, and so now I'm back just being a regular old appraiser out in the field and managing myself and being managed by my VP of Operations, Karina King.
I love it. And he's referring to his significant other over here, you know what I'm saying, off camera. But to rewind back here and then just kind of jump into the topic here, to talk about the 2008 housing bust and to talk about the AMCs that were created at that time. Can you speak a little bit to what exactly an AMC is, and then kind of why it was created?
Well, there were some good and some bad.
Okay.
The good is that an AMC is an appraisal management company, and they came about as a firewall during the loan process between, say, the loan officer and the appraiser. In my many years before my 2008, many times I was told I would get no business if I didn't hit a certain value.
Right. And
I said, well, I'm not much of a cheater, and if I'm going to cheat, I'm not going to cheat for $350.
Yeah.
please don't insult me.
Right.
But those kind of clowns, they're number one, they're out of the industry.
Yep.
Of
course. Out of the industry,
maybe
Some by force because they're in jail.
the Gray Bar Hotel. Some of those guys did do that, and it got rid of some appraisers too. So that was kind of a good thing. But they kind of changed the rules too, because before 2008, my company was actually pretty big. We had a lot of staff and a lot of appraisers, and the way they changed the rules, the laws, and everything, all those went away. And they kind of turned the appraisal industry into a mom and pop kind of outfit.
Yep.
And so basically, I do not talk to loan officers. I don't talk to lenders, unless they're buddies of mine or they have an appraisal question or something off the record. But it's nothing wrong with that. As long as I'm not being influenced, there's not a problem.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They can't do that. But it's kind of sad that we've lost those relationships. And it was sad that a lot of people in my company, lost their jobs. Some of them went on to be appraisers, and it was kind of sad about it. But overall, I don't have to worry about being influenced. In fact, I'm required, if someone does try to influence me on a value, then I'm required to report them.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. And I think there's a lot of checks and balances that's been put in place. I think the AMC is a good thing, but then a bad thing as well. But I think it kind of needed to happen to kind of stop those influences for people that were a little bit weaker than Brian was, that kind of gave in to because what happens is during that bust, you have an appraiser in your back pocket, the lenders are pressuring them for these values, and then you end up with all these overinflated values. Properties that's not worth that. And then when the bank takes it back, then we have to try to dispose of a property that was never worth that to begin.
Never worth it at all.
Yeah. So
sometimes some of the stuff I saw was pretty amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
Pretty amazing, and I just was just kind of like, wow. It's not worth the money.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Cheating is not worth the money.
I always say I never look good in stripes or orange jumpsuit.
I always say I'm too good looking to get stripes.
I love it. So then now you had the AMC, and then you built the AMC up to a certain point. Why not keep the AMC? Why did you decide to sell?
We had a big national come after us, and that was kind of nice. And they kind of made us a good offer, and so we took it.
Yeah, money talks.
A little bit, but they're pretty good outfits, so they're kind of taking care of people.
No, I got you. Are you ever still involved within that company? No. It's just completely.
They just got rid of me.
No, I got you.
Fine with me.
Yeah, fine with you. Because they got a check to do that.
Yeah.
So now let's talk a little bit about your company, Brian. Is it just you?
Just me.
Just you. Okay. And then you do appraisals. What a lot of people don't quite understand is some of the important things that you see on an appraisal, right? And then we were just kind of talking a little bit about it just now, when you're talking about the first page, the second page, and the third page. And then we'll get into some of the other kind of major details a little bit here later. Can you talk a little bit, just kind of hit those points that we kind of talked a little bit about earlier, as far as the appraisal and things to look for?
Right. Most people, when they get an appraisal, they open up the first page, look at the bottom left, look at the value, and say it's done. Well, I mean, on an easy appraisal, on an easy property to appraise, it is probably, if it's close to your office, and it's really easy, you can probably get it done in 3 hours.
Okay.
If your drive time, say 30 minutes, 15 and 15. So about 2.5 hours per.
Okay.
Then you add drive time in. So these days I'm doing 3 a day. That's a lot.
Goodness gracious.
Because when you think about the drive time, the drive time is going to be 3 hours in the day before you even get to your houses. But the appraisal is very complicated. There's a lot of comments that you have to write, and it's not just, it is on a form, but it's not filling out a form. Because whenever you fill out something in the form, somebody's going to have a question, so you have to kind of explain that. On the front page, the most important thing is the neighborhood. You have to define your neighborhood, and you have to define it physically, either by streets or streams or railroad tracks or something like that. And then you have to discuss the high end of that house value, the low end of house value, and the predominant value, not the median, the predominant. The mode, I guess. question. There's no geometry failing or not geometry, whatever, trig. And that's kind of important. And 95% of my appraisals are for lenders. So I'm thinking like that.
Right.
You know, like if you were to hire me and you said you wanted to list this house, you would hire me, and it would not be on a Fannie Mae mortgage appraisal. It would be on something simple, easy to read, and like that. So I'm most of the time thinking about what is a mortgage underwriter looking at. The reason the neighborhood is important, the one thing they look for, and again, I'm not a mortgage underwriter, but I tell you that they're looking for values either increasing, stable, or declining. And in certain neighborhoods are volatile. Neighborhood I live in, the energy corridor, I had an agent the other day ask me, what do you think about values in the neighborhood? I said, what's the price of oil? That was my only answer.
Right.
And it dipped below 50 last week, and I said, we're not going to be doing too well.
Right.
In certain zip codes. I can think of two, but I'm not going to say one of them's mine. And because people move in and out,
Of course.
and so we have to report that, and we're required to report that on the appraisal, what values are doing. If the lender, values are plummeting at 1 or 2 or 3% a month, and it's happened in Houston over a period of a couple of years, then they're going to have a hard time making a loan on something that's not worth the value when they have to forfeit the oil business, loses his or her job.
Absolutely.
And it goes into foreclosure.
Yep.
And it was appraised for $200,000, and now it's worth $100,000, and they've got a $180,000 loan out there.
Yes.
Life is not good. And lenders are not real estate companies.
No.
They lend money, they don't like to own homes.
We don't want your property.
Nope.
We just want our
We
paper
want the money.
with the interest.
Right,
That's it.
right.
So then, you know what I'm saying, it's kind of a good thing in a little bit, in a little way, because like you said, over there in the energy corridor, it's great on oil and gas. Oil and gas is taking a hit right now. I know we got a few oil and gas company stocks in the portfolio, and we're just taking a beating on them.
Yeah.
But it's when it's good, everybody is good. Everything is good in that area. But when it's bad, then everybody kind of has to try to ride out this wave, and then not everybody can.
Don't sell your house.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Buy low, sell high.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty easy stuff.
Exactly. But for those employees that work for the oil and gas company that's in that area, if they get laid off, they may have no option but to try to sell. You know what I mean?
Right. That's true.
And in those cases, it's just like
in your foreclosure market.
Yeah, exactly. And then you find susceptible to the actual the market or whatever the case may be.
Well, I'll tell you, Mark, and I want to brag on the Houston Ship Channel a little bit. People don't realize how huge that is in this economy. I would say oil probably number one.
Yep.
I think medical and the Ship Channel are probably pretty close. I'm sure an economist, which I'm not, could dispute that, but I think that's probably our top three. But there's always ships coming in.
Always.
So always the south part of town.
Always.
The southeast part of town.
Yep.
Pretty freaking stable.
And you know what? They were talking about making another cruise port over there by the Ship Channel somewhere. You're supposed to be working on something like that, which is another good thing.
Yeah, I think they're going to widen it to have more boats and dredge and make it deeper.
Yeah. Which is
steal
actually
some money from Galveston and steal some money from New Orleans.
Yes. So now when you talk,
I shouldn't say steal money.
but
Stealing some business.
kind of divide money. Right? Divide it a little bit more.
You know me, I'm pro-use.
I understand. So then now let's talk a little bit about for the actual realtors out there that's actually taking a look, and then for the people as well. When you're looking at an actual appraisal, there's certain things that add value to your home. Certain things that you can do, and then certain things that you may do to your house that it doesn't add value.
Right.
What are those things that a lot of people want to do to their house, but it doesn't really add value from an appraisal standpoint?
I'm going to tell you something real quick on that, but I'm going to sidestep that question.
Let's do it.
I want to tell you something that's very important.
Okay.
Price per square foot is not a valuation tool.
Okay.
So sorry to change topics.
No. That's a good one.
Because everybody
They need to know that.
The price per square foot in this neighborhood is. When you say that to an appraiser, we just stick our fingers in our ears and quit listening. And the reason is, the example on that is, say, the Memorial Villages, where, not now, but back before the market was declining, an acre was, let's just say 1.8 million.
Okay.
All right. So if you got a 5,000 square foot house on a $1.8 million lot, and you got the exact same house on a smaller lot that's worth 1.5, how does that skew your price per square foot? The price per square foot of the house doesn't matter.
Right, exactly.
I mean,
that's true.
They're both great houses.
Yeah.
The price per square foot is going to be so off the charts because of the high land value.
Absolutely.
Now, if you're in a very homogeneous neighborhood, tract home neighborhood, preferably newer, where you have, say, 10 floor plans, in the entire neighborhood, and all the lots are pretty much the same except for your cul-de-sacs. Yeah, price per square foot works, but Houston, we have no zoning.
Yeah.
And we're in a non-disclosure state.
Right.
Which really freaks out most people around the country.
Of course.
As an appraiser and as a person who likes freedom, I kind of like it.
Absolutely.
That's the reason we're so big.
Yeah.
We don't have a bunch of people telling us you can't build something there, you can't build there. And granted, you'll have an office building in your subdivision, but you know, it's readily accepted by the market.
We have a lot more freedom than other states out there, right?
And that's the reason I love Texas and Houston.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Anyway, get back to your question on value. I have always found that the two most expensive rooms in the house are the ones that should be fixed first.
Okay.
You know what they are? Guess.
Master bathroom and kitchen.
There you go. Bathrooms and kitchen.
Bathrooms and kitchen. Okay. All right, I got you.
Bathrooms and kitchen.
All right.
Yeah. And that's it. And it all depends on what you're competing against. So if you're going to like flip homes or something like that, you don't put, if your neighborhood, if your predominant value in the neighborhood is a $110,000 house, and you don't go in and put $10,000 quartz counters in that.
Right.
What you do is you get on MLS, even though you're not a realtor, but you look at the listings and see how those homes are finished out.
Right.
And you finish your house out the same
way.
Whereas if you're in the high-end neighborhoods where the predominant value is 1.2 million, you better have a pool.
Yes.
Because that's typical for the market. See, I'm always about typical for the market, typical for the market, typical for the market. I don't care what the market is.
Right.
You know, it could be, you have all kinds of ranges, right? And most of that's based on land value.
Right.
So the higher, and of course, land value is based on desire.
Of course.
And marketability.
Of course.
So, which is determined by schools or, whatever, it all goes down the line. But
how close you is for the major metropolitan city, that's so on and so forth. Yeah.
Well, that's the great thing about Houston. We have like 7 downtowns.
Yes.
So, unless you want to go to the symphony to go see a ball game, you don't have to drive any more than 15 minutes.
Exactly.
You can go to a nice restaurant.
Oh, absolutely.
In 15 minutes from pretty much any neighborhood in Houston.
That's true.
And so, but like I said, other than going to, seeing a ball game or going down, in the art district or something, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But you're right, employment, being close to employment is, like I say, the energy corridor, we've got West Chase there and the energy corridor all together.
Oh, yeah.
And then you have the big hospital.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very diverse neighborhood.
It is. Which is also a great thing. To me, medical is kind of recession proof a little bit. You know what I mean? Because people are always going to get sick. People are always going to die. And, not to say that it's going to make the economy around there better all the time.
That's a big employer. They're huge employers.
Oh, absolutely. And especially Houston is a major area for cancer patients, right?
Sure.
So, what I'm saying? A lot of people come here from all over the country to get treated for cancer.
Yeah. And it's going to be getting bigger, I believe, from what I'm understanding too. The medical industry in Houston is going to be getting bigger, as well as the computer and IT business too.
Oh, yes.
So that's kind of on the horizon. We're still competing with Dallas and Austin for some of that, but.
And Dallas seems to be the #1 place that it was on the list, top places people wanted to stay at or something like that. And I think Houston's trying to be in the running,
we're losing out to those guys. That kind of makes me mad. But they need to come down here in early March and late February and then go compare that to Dallas. We can play golf down here.
Oh, absolutely. And then, the other thing is that it kind of, what you allude to, I kind of like the fact that Houston is diversifying a little bit as far as the different sectors that we're having here. It's not just oil and gas all the time.
That's true.
Yeah.
But let's get back to value stuff too. Bathrooms and kitchen.
Okay.
A lot of people say, well, I've got a new roof. And I'll kind of say, I don't really care.
Right.
Because people expect when they buy a home not to get rained on.
Yep.
So you gotta have a roof that works.
Of course.
And why would you buy a 30-year-old roof? 30-year roof.
Okay.
Because most people live in a house how long in Houston? 7 to 10?
7 to 8.
7 to 12?
Yeah.
7 to 12. Let's call it 10.
Yeah.
Why would you buy a 30-year roof? for the next 2 homeowners.
Right.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I got a 30-year roof. We're not going to be here 30 years.
Right, exactly.
We're not going to be alive in 30 years.
Yes.
Why would you be paying for that?
30 years is a long
Does that
time.
make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, and I think, you know, like electrical stuff, people expect lights to come on. It costs a lot of money to fix.
Of course.
I'm not giving you any value for that.
Right, exactly.
You know, the replumbing thing.
Yep.
You know, as long as your water that comes out, as long as you don't have a leak.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
As long as the water that comes out is not yellow or orange and it comes out with good force, I don't care.
Yeah.
Now when those problems start to happen, I'm going to think about repiping.
Of course.
Because it needs to.
So you essentially don't get extra. You don't get extra value for having stuff in the house in the condition that it's supposed to be in.
I think, this is really broad statement I'm about to make. You know, you do kitchen, baths, floors, paint,
Okay.
land value, and you're probably 95% there.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely.
But getting back to the roof, the plumbing, and all that stuff that I was I'm kind of halfway joking about. As an appraiser, when we go into a house, we give it an overall rating.
Okay.
So a house that's exactly the same, that has a new roof versus an old roof, obviously we're going to get more value for the one with the new roof.
Right.
If everything's exactly, but everything's not exactly the same.
Right. Of course.
It's not. That's the, you know, we're not. Realtors are more into the nuance of things, and the small things.
Yep.
We appraisers are more into the big, you know, the bigger picture.
Right. Of course.
Thing. So, and of course, we get all our data from agents.
Uh-huh.
So without the agents, you know, we can't really do our jobs.
Yeah, exactly. Now let me ask you this: everybody wants to know, is it worth putting in the $50,000 to $60,000 pool in the back?
Well, is it typical for the neighborhood?
Okay.
That's what you have to get on.
That's the number one
you have to get on HAR, and the answer is no. Kind of no. It depends on your neighborhood.
Okay.
If you're in that neighborhood where, you know, the predominant value is 110,000.
Yep.
Why would you put half the value of the total of your house in a pool?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes pools can, if you're I always use this, if you're in River Oaks and don't have a pool, you're a loser.
Yeah.
You're a River Oaks loser. Why? Because everybody has a pool.
Because everybody has. Yeah.
It's typical for the market.
Of course.
Conversely, if you go into that neighborhood that's, you know, 110,000 and nobody's got a pool,
Yep.
and you do that in there, what's it worth?
Yeah.
Probably not worth anything, really. And some people won't buy a pool. If your demographic is husband, wife, boy, girl, dog, cat, white picket fence, and the kids, and the demographic of the kids are small, toddlers, they're not gonna buy a house with a pool.
Yeah. It's too much of a liability.
I don't want to see my kid in the, you know,
Yeah, exactly.
jumping out there. And,
Yeah.
you know, so sometimes pools can be a negative.
Right. Of course.
But that gets back to knowing your market too when you're on the front page of the appraisal.
Of course.
You gotta kind of know your, you know, you gotta kind of know who's buying.
Yep. And then now when you're looking at appraisal, a lot of people don't understand a subject to appraisal versus an as-is appraisal.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about the difference of those two?
Well, yeah, I can do an appraisal.
Yep.
I can do an appraisal on a piece of dirt.
Yep.
But of course I've got to have the builder give me blueprints.
Yep.
That's the plans, and then I have to have the specifications, which is what's going to finish the house and the quality of the materials put in. And then I just assume that house is built, and I pull comparable sales, and I can. In fact, we kind of like. I love doing that because I don't have to go measure a house.
Right. It's already done for you.
Give me the blueprints. I need to scan them in.
Yeah.
I got the specs. Ding 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 done.
Make it easy.
Yeah.
I got you.
Especially on big houses.
Yeah. So then as is kind of appraisal, you would classify as, you know, not really need anything, the property kind of as is condition. Right?
As long as it is. But I can also change, if I get an order for as is appraisal, and I go in and the place is kind of a dump and it needs a lot of repair, then I'm going to go in there and do it subject to. And I'm going to give a list to the lender saying this value is based on this being done.
Absolutely.
And of course on a new home, the value is based on the completion of the house.
Of course.
In a workmanlike manner.
Yeah.
Not,
Okay, so explain that.
Well,
workmanlike manner.
David Weekley does homes in a workmanlike manner.
Okay.
Brian Banks, who's never built a house, Just because I got a hammer and a nail,
Yeah.
doesn't mean I can build a house.
Right, exactly.
Clean a house and work in like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
It's got to be done professionally. It's got to come up to code.
Of course.
It's got to go up to code. So.
Of course. So then now when you talk about, let's talk about, you know, for kind of like conditions of the actual property itself.
Right.
A lot of people look at FHA. Oh no, we don't want to go FHA. FHA, they're going to scrutinize the condition of the actual property. You've been in the business 30 plus years, right? I think the actual FHA has gotten a negative connotation from way back when, as far as the appraiser is going to be real hard on the condition of this property when it's an FHA loan. Can you kind of speak to what are you looking for when you do an FHA appraisal as far as the condition of the property?
No.
Okay.
And I think you need to get another appraiser in on FHA because just for the reasons you said.
Yep.
I quit doing FHA. I'm FHA certified, but I'm not competent to do FHA. We'll probably answer any questions.
No, I
can answer it generally.
Okay.
Yeah, there are these little things that they want you to have done.
Uh-huh.
And they're kind of a pain,
Yeah.
but they're good for the home buyer.
Of course.
Especially, you know, typically FHA is your first time home buyer.
Yep.
They don't know if they're scared.
Yes.
You know,
Yep.
been living with mom and dad or been living in an apartment. They don't know what it's like, and you know how excited they are.
Oh, of course.
I got a yard. This is mine.
Yes.
I own this.
Yes.
You know,
Uh-huh.
and it's whether you're 21 or whether you're 51.
Yep.
It's your first house, and it's an FHA loan. So that's the reason I think it's good. Most of the FHA stuff's just kind of nitpicky, can be fixed.
Okay. So it's like minor things, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nothing major, but I'm gonna call you on major stuff. You know, there's a whole roof. And I see a wet spot, or I start seeing cracks through the bricks,
Absolutely.
and then walking around the floor, and I'm leaning a little this way or leaning a little that way. So I'm gonna say, get your roof fixed, get your slab fixed.
Uh-huh.
I see termites.
Okay.
I'm gonna call for a termite inspector.
Definitely that.
Yeah, so.
Now, what about as far as conventional?
Nothing major, but I'm gonna call you on major stuff. You know, there's a hole in the roof. And I see a wet spot, or I start seeing cracks through the bricks,
Absolutely.
and then I'm walking around the floor, and I'm leaning a little this way or
Yeah.
leaning a little that way. So I'm gonna say, get your roof fixed, get your slab fixed.
Uh-huh.
I see termites.
Okay.
I'm gonna call for a termite inspector.
Definitely that.
Yeah, so.
Now, what about as far as conventional goes?
Mhm.
What are the rules for an appraiser as far as appliances? Having appliances and then having flooring. I do have sometimes investors come and like, hey, you know, we want to do a conventional loan, but you know, it may or may not have flooring, or it may or may not have appliances. Can we get this?
Well, that's more of an underwriting question,
Okay.
Which I'm not. But when I go to a house, I want to be able to eat.
Of course.
I want to be able to go to the bathroom.
Yep.
And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And if I don't have a stove, I can't eat.
Yep.
And if I don't have a toilet and a half bath, I can't go to the bathroom.
Yep.
And if I don't have it, and I won't take a shower. So go to the bathroom, take a shower, and eat.
Right.
And if those things, fixtures and stuff aren't there, then they're not going to. Nobody wants to buy
Exactly. Because you can't do the bare necessities that you need to live.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I mean, that's, you know, you can slap on a little paint here and there. I can do that.
That's cosmetic stuff.
I picked up a paintbrush in the 70s, but like I said, you and I can do that. I can't put a stove in it.
Right, of course.
So, yeah, the lenders are gonna, you gotta get that done.
You gotta get that stuff done.
You know, it's $500-600 a year.
Yeah. It's not necessary.
No, it's gotta work too.
Oh yeah, of course.
When I go in there, you know, we check and make sure they work.
Uh-huh. No, I got you. So then let's talk a little bit about appraisers. When people think about appraisers, they think about the appraiser actually physically going out to the property, taking pictures, looking at the market analysis. There are also these things called desktop appraisals.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about the services of a desktop appraisal? Kind of what they are and how it works?
There's obviously save a lot of money because we don't have to go drive, we don't have to go measure.
Yep.
They're not as accurate.
Yep.
Because we're not walking around the house.
Yep.
We're not looking at the lots. And of course we have aerial photos.
Uh-huh.
Let's talk about that real quick.
Okay.
Something that is negative value, obviously, is having an interstate in your backyard.
Yep.
Or your front yard.
Uh-huh.
There are those here in town.
Uh-huh.
Or a railroad track.
Yep.
Or, you know, you go inside south of Loop, of course, and you've got, you go in the Heights area, you've got little small commercial things. Nobody wants that in their backyard, especially an alley where trucks are going through an alley. So we don't necessarily see those on a desk review. Those are negative, sometimes big, negative value problems. But basically, we just get all our data. Instead of in the field, we get it off the tax record, or maybe an old MLS or a current MLS thing, and just do our comparables and do our analysis. Like that.
And that's it.
Yeah.
So then those appraisals are actually a little bit cheaper because it doesn't require drive time and photos and all this other stuff.
Well, you get what you pay for, of course.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
You know, but I mean, but I'm not trying to promote either one because I charge like $200 to do the desk.
Yeah.
But I can do 2 of those in an hour.
Yeah.
And I don't make that much an hour when I go out and pitch, so actually I make more money sitting in the
So you guys prefer those?
Yeah, I kind of prefer them, but they're just not quite the same.
Yeah. And I think you're saying a lot of investors use those as good tools. As far as, maybe there's a property, hey, look, I'm trying to get the ARV on this thing. I'm not necessarily sure, that type of thing. And those are great for those. Wouldn't recommend trying to buy a house on the desktop appraisal. Definitely wouldn't recommend that.
No, I do that again, for investors for sure. And I don't do them for realtors. I've got one I'm actually doing tomorrow, and the realtors, they don't want me to do a full Fannie Mae appraisal.
Right.
Because we're not doing a loan.
Yeah, exactly.
But they do want, those realtors want me to come out.
And take a look at it and see.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, desktop, they just, give you a general idea.
Oh, of course.
But then again, most investors are real estate savvy. Most of them are somehow members of the board and can get on MLS.
Absolutely.
And they can do a pretty good analysis.
Yeah.
But there's just a certain nuance.
Of course.
And it kind of irritates me that some real estate professionals will not consider backing up to a busy street and stuff like that. Well, wait a minute, this house like that. I said, yeah, and this house is sold for $200. You came in at 190. I said, yeah, you back up to freaking I-10. All things being equal, I don't want an interstate in my backyard.
Of course. And then you try to sleep and
that's what I'm
slide traffic.
saying.
Yeah, it's crazy. No, I get it. But
beware of that. Beware of what it's called external obsolescence. It's an external off-site problem.
Absolutely.
And to be real technical and kind of geeky with you, putting in the $50,000 or $60,000 pool in a neighborhood where it's not typical, that's called functional obsolescence. It's functionally obsolete. You can put 50 in it, you can spend 50, but it's probably worth 10 in the market. So you've lost $40,000 in functional obsolescence.
Absolutely. You just better hope you get
$40,000.
No. You just better hope you get $40,000 worth of use out of it.
That's what I'm saying. And I tell people that. I say, you know what? If it's a young couple with some youngerish kids, and they're going to live there for a long time, do it.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Oh, absolutely. Because it's fun.
People buy houses to live and have a home and enjoy. Do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just speaking strictly, from marketability and value perspective.
No, I get it. And especially if you got kids, man. Kids like the water. They love the water forever. They get in there and stay in there forever until they get all wrinkly and stuff.
Well, I remember those days.
Yes, Lord have mercy. But anyways, as far as your appraisal goes, is there any other information that you think is good for just the people out there? And so as far as when they're looking at the appraisal, anything that most buyers would overlook that you think is, hey, look, this is important, you need to kind of note this?
Well, buyers are the markets. Whatever the buyer says is that.
Yep,
but,
absolutely.
But it's interesting you say that because you reminded me of something.
Okay.
Part of the definition of market value is an informed buyer and an informed seller.
Of course.
So if you've got two people that don't know anything and do a deal, that's not really market value.
Right.
That's where you and I come in because we've got some expertise. We know what we're doing.
Yep.
And I'm a professional because I've got a license, and I tell these people, you're right or wrong. Wow, you guys are great. Pretty good job.
Yeah, exactly.
But so that's the reason I would suggest that anybody buying or selling consult on that.
Okay.
As we know, buyers set the market, and if you're a real estate agent out there, I tell people, I don't have to tell the people who've been around as long as I have this. Some sellers think their house is the greatest thing in the
Oh
world.
yeah,
As-
that's most sellers. That's some.
That's
That's most.
That's most. But if you're a good agent, you've got, as far as informing, you got to tell them, you got to inform them with data that it's not worth this.
Yeah.
And if I were an agent, and I'm not, I wouldn't take a listing with a seller who wouldn't listen to me.
Absolutely.
Because it'll sit on the market for 6 months.
Yes.
And then you'll look bad as an agent.
Yep.
And they'll go bad mouth you because you didn't work hard enough to sell their house when you told them from the get-go it wasn't going to sell.
Exactly.
I say that a lot. So.
And the one thing I see, is just a lot of sellers have that emotional attachment, right? The emotional attachment that buyers don't necessarily have. So they're like, hey, look, I changed the doorknobs on all the doors, so it's worth at least $10,000 more. It's like, come on, man.
Now I'm going to get to that. I just had a conversation with, I think, an investor. And we were talking about the definition of market value, informed and non-informed, and we were kind of talking about that. And I said, look, I'm the guy that takes all the fun out of it. I said, I have no dog in the fight.
Yeah.
I said, I don't care. It is what it is.
Right.
And I'm the voice, we appraisers are the voice of reason.
Of course.
Because we don't care on either, so we're not an advocate for either side. That being said, but when you start talking about the doorknobs and stuff, if I'm going to sell a house that needs to be spruced up, I spruce it up.
Of course.
There's a thing called a wow factor. So those doorknobs do work. I don't know how much value they're going to add because I'm not going to sit there and count doorknobs.
Exactly.
I can't do it on my comps.
Right.
It's not really a big factor. But when you walk in the door of a house, you want the buyers or potential buyers to go, wow.
Yes.
And guess what does that? Paint. The smell of paint.
Man. Paint goes a long way. Paint by itself will take a house a long way.
That's what I'm telling you. It's a wow factor.
Absolutely.
And it's not that expensive.
Yeah. No,
it's not as expensive as a roof or an air conditioner, typically.
Right.
At least in a house like this,
Absolutely.
But just little things do matter.
Absolutely.
And little things don't cost too much.
Yeah.
Little things can get you to the wow factor.
There you have it. And then now, what about when people are trying to decide on different floors? Does that really matter to an appraiser? Okay, you have wood floors versus carpet.
Again, typical for the neighborhood.
Yeah.
In this neighborhood, I would not put solid wood floors and spend the money on it. You know how much money that would cost in this house?
A lot of money.
A lot, tons.
This is a ton of square feet.
Tons.
Try to cover.
Yeah, but I mean, what's in here, the finish of this house is typical for a newly remodeled house in this neighborhood.
Yep.
And that's what the typical buyer is looking for.
Yep.
If you do typical, you hear the word typical keeps coming up in this conversation.
Of
Typical,
course.
typical, typical.
Of course.
And it gets back to the court's counters and an $80,000 house. Don't do it. Nobody cares.
Right, exactly.
Formica is just fine.
Yes.
And there's some good looking Formica out there. I'm
Yeah.
serious. There's nothing wrong with Formica.
It's not.
But I'm not gonna go crazy. I'm gonna spruce it up.
Of course.
And I'll tell you a good thing too, something good, it's kind of expensive, is the front door.
Okay.
Like when
That's a great first impression, though. Yeah.
when you own a company and you have somebody up front, male or female, you want to look good.
Oh yeah.
And be professional.
Oh,
and be polite.
Yes.
Well, that's your front door.
That's true.
And you open
That's
it up.
good.
You open it
I
up.
like that.
You open it up. You get a wow factor.
There you go.
You got two balls.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You're waiting to bear down on,
Yes.
on a 2-0 count.
The curb appeal is nice. It's on the front door, and then when they open the door, the first things that they see.
Don't go crazy on landscape.
Yeah.
Don't go nuts. Don't
Yeah.
just spend
The basic stuff. Just clean it
Just
up.
have the neighborhood. See what your neighbors are doing.
Yeah.
And make it look clean.
Yeah.
Make it look like your home.
Oh, absolutely.
Make it look like somebody's home.
But clean, nice and clean go a long way.
Telling you.
A long way.
That's what I think.
Brian, if people want to get in contact with you, can you give them a little bit about name of the company? How do they get in contact with you?
It's pretty easy. The name of the company is First Houston Appraisal, and the way to contact me is very easy, and I live on emails, not on text or phone numbers. I live on emails. My email is Brian with an I at firsthoustonappraisal.com. If anybody wants to call me, they can. I don't charge unless I leave my chair. So once I hit the door, there will be a charge. If anybody just has a general question, I'm happy to answer them. Just give me an email, and I'll get back to you within a half a day. If I don't get back with you within a half a day, that means that I didn't see it. So feel free to do it again.
To follow up.
Yeah, I'm a half-day guy.
And then now we're gonna get ready to wrap this thing up. But let me ask you this question here. For the people out there, and I probably already know your answer, but I'm gonna ask you this anyway. How do people determine, looking at a house, how much value does, I don't know, a pool add to a house, right? If you have an investor that's out there trying to price out a house, how much was granite in the kitchen? How much value would that add?
I think it's an overall thing.
Okay.
I think the investor has to look at the look at every room.
Yep.
We're looking for look at the bedrooms and look at the baths and kitchens.
Yep.
First,
Right.
and look at what you're competing against.
Of course.
What's listed.
Yep.
I mean, that's a really good. Remember, listings are the high end of the market.
Yes.
So if you're looking at the high end, and you look at 3 or 4 at the same square footage of a home, and look at those things, and look at those list price, you can actually kind of back into it and figure out how much you got to put into this house to be a little bit lower than you want to be a little bit lower than your competition, right?
Of course.
So you can sell it quicker.
Yep.
But you want to put as much of the same stuff in there
Yes,
as
exactly.
you can.
Exactly.
Do it. I mean, that takes some work.
That does.
It doesn't take a whole lot of talent. It's pretty much common sense. All it is looking at pictures.
That's it.
You know, but I would start with the square footage of the home you have.
Of course.
If it's 1 story or 2 story, then I would narrow that down, and then I would start looking at the finishes of the updated homes. Forget the non-updated homes because they're not going to be comparable because we're doing a subject to right. So see what everybody else is doing. Be a nosy neighbor.
There you go.
You know,
kind of like everything else out there, be influenced by other people, right?
That's
So
what
be influenced by other houses,
Yes.
and then that way you know you on the right path.
And if you can get something in there a little bit better for the same price or less, you can find some granite on sale that's kind of cool,
right?
Or you can find something that costs a little bit less.
Yep.
It gives you a little edge with your competition.
That's even
and then we'll let the buyers / the market figure it out from there.
I love it, Brian.
Appreciate it. My pleasure.
Hey, thanks for coming out here. Hey, make sure y'all like and subscribe. Make sure y'all tune in. Until next time, we'll catch y'all later. Peace.